Like, bro, oh God, this makes my ass itch. Like, look how close Brock is to these ropes. He's so close, like he can smell the material that they made out of. Like his eyelashes are tickling the ropes right now. And you mean to tell me that he can't reach out and grab the ropes for a rope break? Like, that's beyond goofy, man. Like, why? What's good, WWE 2K fam? Welcome back to the channel. So a few days ago, I posted a video breaking down the footage of the two matches we got from the WWE 2K YouTube community. And during that video, I expressed my disappointment with the fact that submission gameplay doesn't appear to be improved. Like, I legit don't think they touched it at all. And if I can be brutally honest, man, submission gameplay has been trash in this series for like quite a while now. And from the looks of things, it looks like WWE 2K22 is going to continue that tradition. Now, don't get me twisted, man. This is in no way trying to throw shade at 2K. You know what I mean? This is just constructive criticism from a legit fan of the series. I mean, I think they've done some amazing things in certain aspects of the game, but it's obvious that submission gameplay is just one of those things they just cannot seem to get right. And for fans of the series like myself who value gameplay above like everything else, it's just like this is the reason I always cringe when I hear other people say like, you know, oh, the gameplay is fine or it's good enough. Personally, I think that's cap, man. Gameplay leaves a lot to be desired. But, like I said, I'm not the type of person to complain without at least trying to be solution-oriented. So in this video, man, I just kind of want to discuss ways that I think that they can make the submission system and submission gameplay overall just much better. So let's get into it, man. Now, I don't know what their thought process is when it comes to submission gameplay, but it definitely needs to be more than just researching pretty escape animations, you know, to add to the game. And honestly, man, throwing different mini games on top of it, especially ones that don't really add any substance or anything, they don't really do anything to fix the situation either. Like, it's legit like trying to put a band-aid over a wound that obviously needs stitches. I mean, they gonna have to add some depth to the submission system if it's ever gonna be good. I mean, just like how we now have, you know, multiple ways to defend against strikes and grapples, like why not apply that same philosophy to submissions? They need to acknowledge that the breakout or tap formula is probably not the best look for a professional wrestling game. I mean, it's shallow and really does nothing to capture the nuances of what we actually see in pro wrestling submission spots. You know, and not to mention, I mean, it's just boring as hell, if I could be honest. Basically what it boils down to is, man, we simply need more options when it comes to submission gameplay. Now, one of the first things I want to address is the lack of crawling. Like, we need a legit crawling mechanic in this game. Like, not the half-ass crawling out of one or two moves, you know, but a legit mechanic that allows us to like crawl, pull, scoot, whatever, roll, walk towards the ropes, man, during any submission where crawling is applicable. Like, now, naturally, there are going to be some submission moves where crawling would not be physically possible. Like, there's no way we could crawl out of a surfboard stretch or like a torture rack. But if it makes sense to be able to crawl or walk towards the ropes, then we should be able to do that, man. Like, you don't need some elaborate mini game for it. Just keep it mapped to like the left analog stick and let players move the stick in the direction that they want to crawl. I mean, it really is that simple. Reversal should also be an option as well, man. Why can't we reverse submissions into submissions of our own? Like, there are a lot of technical and submission savvy wrestlers who pull these off all the time. And it's just one more way that we can add some variety to the submission gameplay. And, you know, I think it'll create some really dope gameplay moments. Pinfalls is yet another way to add some variety, as we've seen this happen like with Samoa Joe's Coquina Clutch and Sasha's bank statement. Like, but why stop there? You know, when there are so many other submissions that pinfalls can be applied to as well. instead of letting the game decide how we break submission holds, like give players more power to decide how we want to attempt to counter submissions. Like I said, it's basically the same philosophy that they adopted with countering strikes and grapples. As for the mini game, I'd say keep it simple and as less intrusive as possible. Like button mashing is fine. Like they could simply use the face buttons and have players mash the buttons that coincide with the action they want to perform. If they want to escape the hole, maybe button mash X on PlayStation or A on Xbox. If players want to attempt a pin, like mash the circle or the B button. If they want to try to counter the submission, like mash the Y or the triangle button. Now I understand that we have to account for accessibility. So, if you're unable to button mash or you just simply don't like it, man, like add an alternate version like they always do. I mean, a timing based minigame works fine in this case as well. I mean, just add, the options to the mini bar, like, stuff like escape, reverse, or pin, and make it to where like, you have to stop it in the sweet spot, to get the desired reaction. As for crawling, you could still leave that map to the left analog stick. It won't change anything. The point I'm trying to make is like, it doesn't have to be some overly elaborate mini game. Like just add some depth, like, and notice I didn't mention the offensive player in any of this. Like, that's because personally, I don't think the offensive player should have to mash buttons or perform any actions to get somebody to tap out. Like making the offensive player mash buttons is like making somebody like mash the buttons to keep somebody down in a pinfall. It don't make sense to me, but that's just me. If you feel differently, please feel free to share your ideas down in the comments, man. I really want to hear them. Another way to add some excitement would be like rope breaks, man. Like one of the most exciting things about submission wrestling is the desperate attempt to reach the ropes. So they should just be, as dramatic in the game. Once the player's within reach of the ropes, we should be able to get an animation showing them actually grabbing or putting the foot across the ropes, seeing the ref acknowledge the rope break and then trying to call to break the hold. I really don't understand what's so difficult about adding a rope break animation. And the crazy thing is they actually have these animations for pinfalls, but it's nobody thought that hey, maybe this would be a good idea to add, to submissions as well. And just look at this real quick, bro, oh God, this makes my ass itch. Look how close Brock is to these ropes. He's so close, he can smell the material that they made out of. His eyelashes are tickling the ropes right now. And you mean to tell me that he can't reach out and grab the ropes for a rope break? That's beyond goofy, man. Why? Anyway, another element that needs to be added back to this game is the 5 count. I've said this so many times, in my own YouTube videos, on a lot of bigger YouTube 2K content creators posts, in videos, Twitter, Facebook, you name it. But why in the hell don't we have a 5 count? It's literally part of the match rules, bro. Seriously. How do you just exclude match rules? That would be the NBA 2K title saying nah, we don't need fouls. Just take them out of the game. Bro, that's crazy. But just from a gameplay perspective, I think it would just be dope, to allow us to hold on to the holds after, the rope break. You know what I'm saying? So this feature definitely needs to make a return. It should have never left, honestly. Now, a feature that I feel would be dope is using visual cues instead of meters, to let players know when they're about to tap out or it's close to happening. Now, they don't have to go turning the screen different colors or anything like that, but just make the camera slowly zoom in as your wrestler becomes closer to, tapping out. Also things making the guy raise their hand, signaling that they're about to tap out. I think this year's game shows how effective camera angles can be. like when it comes to immersion. So I think this would be like dope if like that's something that they could add into there. And the last thing that I want to touch on is just add more rest holds and like wear down submissions. Like even being able to use some of the current submissions as rest holds and like wear down, like sleeper holds, bear hugs, bow and arrow stretches. Like not every submission has to be about trying to make the guy tap. Like, let us use some of those moves to like soften up limbs or whatever. But anyway, 2K fam, man, these are my thoughts on the issue. Like I said, man, please comment down below and let me know what you think. Like, how would you fix the submission system if you had a chance? I appreciate y'all, man, for watching. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, as that is always appreciated. It really helps the channel. All right, 2K fam, later.